Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming today. I really appreciate you being here. I want to start off today by telling you guys a little story that happened to me recently. So my husband and I were shopping in Target, just doing our weekly grocery roundup, and we had our baby girl Charlie with us. She's 10 months old. And so as we were combing through the aisles, we kind of rounded a corner and we got just a little bit in front of an older couple who were just shopping as well. Charlie, being the diva and cutie that she is, and I'm not just saying this because I'm her mother, she really is a very cute baby, I'm not just biased. She of course captured the attention of this older lady who started cooing at her, "Oh, your baby's so cute, how old is she? Oh, she's darling, I just want to pinch her cheeks." All these little things and compliments. And so we carried on maybe a 1 minute, 2 minute conversation, very polite and short, then we moved about our way. Well, a little bit later, I told my husband, I said, "Hey, I really have to use the bathroom. I'll meet you guys at the checkout. I'm gonna run over there really quick. Won't be too long." And so I leave to go use the bathroom, and I find myself walking a little bit of a ways in front of this elderly couple again. And so as I'm walking towards the bathroom, I hear the older man turn to his wife and say, "Ugh, look at her. She's gotta be 14 or 15. Ugh," with such just disgust and disdain in his voice. And I stopped, and for a while there I honestly debated about turning around and just giving a good piece of my mind and setting him straight about my marital status and how old I was and that I'm actually a pastor's wife and you shouldn't judge people and all this stuff. And then I thought, no, that's not the right way to handle this situation. I'm just gonna let it go and go about my day and just leave them to their thing. It's just not worth the time. But then it got me thinking, why is it that people just seem to have such a negative connotation of the youngest generation? Why is it that kids who are 14 years old or 12 years old or 16 years old are getting so much negative feedback? People don't seem to like them, and why is that? Well, today I really want to talk to you guys about this younger generation and really explain why they are the way that they are and what their needs are and actually how great they really can be. So, this current generation, the youngest one, is called the Z generation. I come from the Y generation, which is also known as the millennials. Now, the millennials came from an age where you're usually born in like the late 80s, early 90s to 90s. And so we came from probably the best generation ever. Just kidding. I know everybody else is just as great. But we had all the benefits of being introduced to technology, but not being grown up and consumed by it. We could still play outside and then kind of play some video games, but those weren't hugely developed when we were very young. And so for this generation, they're so consumed with technology, that's all that they've known their entire life. From even the point when they were young, cell phones were still a big deal, like they were getting very developed, and now technology is full blown. They can have instant gratification on the tips of their fingers without having to even really try. This is why they're getting such a negative connotation for many reasons, but I can see why. But why is technology seen as such a bad thing for them? It really isn't. They don't use it in the right ways. The Z generation is raised and reliant on technology. Sadly, this technology plays a significant part of their life, even more so than adults now do in their kids' life. It's actually been statistically shown from the book Think Orange that the average student, the average teenager only gets 10 minutes of conversation with an adult on the daily. That means that this conversation is also included with teachers, professors, coaches, anyone else in their life, not including a parent or a caring adult. 10 minutes, you guys. That's not a very long amount of time. Imagine if an adult was in their life who said, "Hey, I want to spend more than 10 minutes with you talking about how much I care." That would be pretty revolutionary for them. Today's youth has an intense desire for striding the path. They just don't have anyone to show them the way. Tim Elmore wrote in his article, 6 Defining Characteristics for Generation Z, he said, "These students plan to be pioneers, not merely settlers in a career." Interesting. 72% of current high school students want to start a business. They feel like hackers, not slackers. Since they're more jaded, they know that life is hard and it requires hard work. That's very interesting. That trait is something that's also seen in a generation that you guys come from, where it skipped mine, but it's again resurfacing itself in the younger generation. They're hard workers, they're entrepreneurs, they know the value of money, they want to work hard. But again, they don't have anyone to tell them or show them how. So this generation is getting so much slack, but yet they have so much potential. So how can we, as the caring adults who can actually give them what they're just yearning for and wanting but not receiving, how can we do that? I want to share with you a few circumstances that I, as a youth worker, have been able to experience with students, but also a few professional opinions. My husband has always said, as a youth pastor, he said, you have to earn the right to be heard. Now, what does this mean? This really means taking the time to show a student that you're not just putting a smile on your face and trying to get through the day, you actually care about them. A student just doesn't care about, well, oh, they said hi and asked how I was, so they must care about me. You have to show up in their life and be consistent. Ask them every day, how are you doing? I've been thinking about you. Hey, what's up? Can I come to your soccer game? I really want to watch you play. Hey, let's go get snow cones. It's showing a student that you just want to be a part of their life. And when they've seen that you care, that you actually want to be with them and hang out and invest in them, they're going to start opening up to you. They're going to start realizing that, okay, this is somebody I want around. My husband actually visits school lunches as a youth pastor and hangs out with the students that are there. And at one point, there was a girl there who seemed a little bit standoffish to him. And he tried talking to her, saying, hey, what's going on? How are you? And she goes, I know you're a youth pastor. Don't talk to me. I'm an atheist. He was like, okay, I'll leave you alone. I'm sorry. Well, he kept on showing up to these lunches just to hang out with the students, just to talk. And he was friends with these girls' friends, and so they had a little connection, and eventually she kind of started to have a couple conversations with them, and this moved into more conversations, and she started opening up, and then one night, she came to youth group. And then the next night, she came again. And then she showed up to our summer camp, and she stayed the whole time. And she kept coming to our churches, and eventually, she became a Christian. A girl who once had said, I'm an atheist, don't talk to me, I don't want anything to do with God, is now passionately in love with Jesus. And that's just a testimony to someone who took the time to just hang out with them, say, hey, I care about you. I just want to spend time with you. That's all. No ulterior motives. Excuse me. You have to be a real enabler when you're with students. And what I mean by that is that you have to really give them an empowerment to seek their dreams. You have to give them the encouragement that they're looking for, not discourage them. Like I mentioned earlier, they're entrepreneurs. They want to be pushed into something greater. They want to be a part of something, but they need encouragement and pushing to get there. And typically that's going to come from older adults such as you guys or myself. It was written in Edelman, born with information at their fingertips, members of this generation are careful consumers who can sniff out sugarcoating from a mile away. Transparency, authenticity, and a genuine give-back factor are key to attracting these do-gooders. So, just be genuine. You don't have to do anything fancy. You don't have to be a celebrity. Many of us aren't. Just be genuine and kind to them. That's what they're looking for. They want somebody who just really cares about them in their life. In conclusion, I just want to give you guys a quick analogy really quick. We have here a cup of water. This resembles your typical Z generation student. This cup of dirt right here is just life circumstances. It can be family getting divorced, or just getting bullied at school, or getting a lot of pressure from social media, and oh, I have to look like this, or I have to be this kind of person to be accepted. That's just the kind of dirt that the world will throw at you. And this glass of water right here represents you guys, adult workers, people who have a cup full of water who are ready to pull into people with potential. Now, what happens when you pour dirt into this water? It's very chunky. There we go. It gets dirty, right? It's polluted. There's stuff going on in the student's life, like, oh, well, my parents split last year and I'm getting bad grades at school, and now my coach is harping on me to do this and do that. It's really difficult. But then you come in and you go, okay, I see where you're at. Let's just hang out. Hey, do you want to hang out next week? Hey, I saw your football game. You did such a good job. Hey, if you have a question on that math project, I can help you. Look, I'll be there for you in this hard time. I don't have enough water to really demonstrate what would happen if you continue pouring in clean water, but what would happen is that water would become lighter and gradually like the dirty things and the difficult things would float out. That's what happens when adults pour into students' lives. They have a release, they have a way to be, okay, I'm encouraged, I'm getting this stuff out and I'm getting filled. It's amazing what can happen. I hope you guys have felt a little bit inspired today to really help the youth of this generation. They're waiting and they're wanting to be with you. Thank you very much.